Hello, Internet! It's time for Wednesday's comics for February 24th. First up is Skittles Vomit, or Blackest Night 7 of 8. Okay, it's awesome, obviously. I've never really heard anyone say too much negative about this comic, and it was really cool, but, more of the same. And although I will say, like I said, Skittles Vomit, this was a little too heavy on the color everywhere, and there were some panels where it was just like faces and flashes of color. I don't think this comic would have been possible without Photoshop. And one thing that I noticed that was really cool, not to try to spoil too much, but there's this part where Sinestro makes a big grand proclamation, but he uses his ring to make a vision of himself, but that vision is him in his old Green Lantern uniform, which I thought was really interesting. Him being, who was the greatest lantern of all until got shucked on that for being a douche. Alright, ASM 622 has a first story with Morbius and dealing with the whole vial of Spider-Man's blood thing, and it's cool little aside. Got me thinking a little bit about just the general state of the Marvel Universe. I mean, the idea of just so many people walking around so many weird things. I mean, mutants, superhumans, and freaking vampires, everything you can think of. I mean, I don't know, to just be a Monday in there would be kind of lame. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you'd be the banker, and then your brother one day decided to go to the garbage dump, ended up in some radioactive waste, and now has the collective strength of New York or something. Just, I don't know. Sparked weird thought. Anyways, and then you have a backup story talking all about Flash Thompson, the idea of the loss of legs and grief, and kind of a nice little human story, a little decompression, which has been really good because Spider-Man's just been so up and up, and it's kind of nice to see a little bit of wind down, a little bit gearing up for something coming next. Then this week, Spider-Man Clone Saga wrapped up, and this comic was, hey, this is exactly what didn't happen at the end. And so it was very predictable, but still kind of fun to see the way they twisted around. Kind of a what if Spider-Man story. And I would not bother with it. Also, speaking of things that wrapped up, Flash Rebirth wrapped up in a flash. It felt a little rushed, and for an issue that's been sitting around for months waiting to come out, I have to admit it was a little bit of a letdown, but still solid. I don't know, kind of wraps it up, and some more flashness will be coming, but I always thought Barry was a more boring character than Wally, so I can't say I'm too excited. But hey, it's moving forward, and it should be exciting to see where that goes once all the Blackest Night stuff gets wrapped up. Next up is Black Lantern Green Arrow, and I have to say, for a little tie-in book, this was really cool. It is about the best Green Arrow book I've read in I don't know how long. It's just him as the Black Lantern being a bastard to everyone around him, while on the inside he's trying to fight it, and the way they have this little device of him shooting these trick arrows at those that he cares about, and just ripping apart the way he feels about them. I mean, it feels like there's a kernel of truth, which just makes it that much more sinister. It's just a real dark book, and it's just showing what a real bastard he could be, and I don't know, I just thought that was a lot of fun to read. Next up, to finish out DC proper for me this week, is Wonder Woman 41, and this issue has Wonder Woman paired off against Power Girl, and I have to say, the contrast of seeing how these two characters, feminine, similar power class, really, to me, showed really what Wonder Woman's all about just by the contrast. And for that alone, this is a comic, and the one prior to it, since it's a two-parter, really worth picking up. So does this sound entertaining to you? Deadpool trying to convince Spider-Man to protect him from a monkey with guns? No? And if that wasn't wrapped up in one issue, but is really just the continuation from the last one and doesn't really progress anywhere, does that sound even less entertaining? If so, you're about with the same page on me for Deadpool 20. My last Marvel book for the week is Avengers The Initiative 33, and this was a fun little tag along to Siege, which is going on, which is great for me because I haven't been reading any of the main Marvel events as such, and the way this book reads, hits all the high points. Like, there was a great little aside for the whole Sentry Ares fight, which I'm sure you've heard about, and the way they did in this comic actually was more enjoyable for me than the panel in there, though guts and entrails always fun, kids. But it's a great way to get through the event. There's not too much I can really say. It's going along well, but it's part one of three, so this is one of those ones where you'll see how it wraps up. Well, that's it for this week, kids. Well, not really. I'll be doing a part two with the less mainstream books, which should be coming your way soon. But for now, that's it. So stay tuned for part two.